the 100-meter dash for the Xiamen Diamond League is officially over, and as far as I understand it, that race was about as anticipated as any pro circuit race might be in the month of April. All that being said, Christian Coleman was supposed to win the race because he had already won the Xiamen Diamond League in the 100-meter dash 2 years in a row. So this one would be the third. Last year when he did it, he won the event in a race against Fred Curley and Akeem Blake. I mean, other people were there, but those are the names that you would recognize the most. And interestingly enough, those same three men also ran in the Diamond League final later at the end of the year. The difference is that the order in which they finished flipped around. From then till now, when they came back for this Xiamen Diamond League, the field looked a whole lot different. Because now you didn't just have Christian Coleman. And for that matter, Akeem Blake and Fred Curley were not present anymore. But Letsile Tebogo of Botswana was there. And Ferdinand Omanyala of Kenya also showed up to the line this time. On top of that, the entire podium from the World Indoor Championships in the 60-meter dash. In that order, Jeremiah Azu of Great Britain, Lachie Kennedy of Australia, and Akani Simbine from South Africa, who happened to be in the Olympic final last year and get fourth in the 100. All of these men were now on the line. So even though Coleman was supposed to be like, I guess you would call him like a defending champion if we're going off of that specific meeting, it was a toss-up at this point who was actually going to win. And when the gun went off, well, the race, depending on who you ask, I guess it went according to plan, because Akani Simbine was the world leader in the 100 coming into this moment, and he validated it, because he didn't just win the race, he ran away from the field. He went 9.99 seconds with a positive 0.2 wind. But not only did nobody else break 10, nobody else broke 10.1. Second place was 10.13 seconds, and that went to Ferdinand Omanyala. I'm not making this up. So now the real question is, where does Christian Coleman finish? And he didn't get third either. That would be Jeremiah Azu of Great Britain. Coleman slid all the way down to fourth, and he ran the same exact time, at least down to the hundredths, as Lachie Kennedy, 10.18 seconds. So what does a race like this actually mean? Because even though it's a Diamond League race, and they do hand out prize money, I will still go on record to say that I understand in this pro-amateur track and field world we're living in, where even though the Diamond League has a final, it really doesn't mean anything because the World Championships is what everybody tells me is the most important moment. So no, this race is technically just a race, but it also tells us where we're at. Letsile Tebogo, as far as I understand it, is focusing on the short sprints this year. I expect him to be on the line for the 100 at the Worlds. But at this moment, in this field, he just didn't give a good race. Just, it is what it is. But for each athlete on the line, they all have very different plans going forward when we look to the Worlds. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, the founder of SCArecruiting.com, where I rank the best track and field recruits across the entire nation. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. In Christian Coleman's case, he has now run multiple 100s. He ran at the Tom Jones Memorial and got third on that stage. The time was a little bit faster, and hey, forget about the clock for a moment. But he still got third. And that was a race where there was no Fred Curley. There was no Noah Lyles. There was no Kenny Bednarik. Those are the men who kept him off of Team USA to represent at the games. I even had a conversation with my friend Anderson Emerald up the final leg, and I asked him, considering the Olympics only lets in 3 Americans, which is a technicality, like that rule, it really hurts America more than almost any other nation. Where would Christian Coleman have finished if we just sent him to the games anyway? Like if they let him on the line and put him in the field, what would have happened? For where he was last year, he likely would have finished in the Olympic final at the very least in both the 100 and the 200. I'm just saying, somebody who's in that final, whoever the last qualifier was, you wasn't going to have that spot. Not with Christian Coleman running in the form we just saw. So when you consider him, because when you're the defending champion for this meeting multiple times over, you do become the star of the show, as far as I understand it. We then have to put that in perspective of what are we expecting to see in the future of his season, because it's now been multiple races where we've more or less gotten the same script. He doesn't really get as big a lead as we, I guess, have become accustomed to seeing, and the field still makes a move later on. But if you don't really have much of a lead, and the field makes a move, they move away from you. Akani Simbine, on the other hand, has made it clear that he wants to put himself in the best position to get a medal at the Worlds, and he thought that he needed to run indoors all the way through to the World Indoor Championship in order to give him to put him in position to do that. Interestingly enough, that's exactly what Christian Coleman did last year. He went to World Indoors and came back with a gold medal. It's just that, again, at the Olympic trials, things didn't go exactly according to plan. And now Simbine is outdoors. He put down a world lead and then came to this Diamond League event and validated it was not a fluke. It wasn't just a fast time with nobody around. He ran fast again. And the margin of victory between that race, where I believe Omanyala was in that field as well, was roughly about the same. So the fact that Omanyala is, one, he was second in both. We still see that what the competition between these fields, there's a whole lot for us to kind of take away where, he may not be all the way at the top line, but he's still going to be a factor. If you want to go get to a final, you're going to have to go through him. And then you skip all the way down to Letsile Tebogo, who opened up his season running a bunch of 400s. And now we're seeing him in a 100. Didn't really look all that sharp, but then again, I don't really know what I expected. The thing is, he's deceptively fast in the 100 because he's a world championship silver medalist in that event. And to be honest, I kind of forgot about it. And immediately forgot. When he made it to the Olympic final last year, I knew he was there, but I wasn't really paying attention because there were just so many heavy hitters in that race. I guess maybe didn't realize that he was one of them until he went to 200, which was kind of like a reminder because he's probably the most comprehensively talented sprinter that we have in the game. If you're going off of last year's performance, 1, 2, 4. Fred Curley maybe has a claim to that spot, to be 100% honest. But considering what we've seen in the 200, and again, an Olympic gold in the 200, I'm going to give it to Letsile just by a hair. But this was still his season opener for the most part in the 100. So I'm sure he's going to run faster races. And again, you can kind of throw these clocks out the window. But then you got Lockie Kennedy, who people have been doubting for a while. And now he basically just ran the same time as Christian Coleman at the line in a 100. So what do we do with that? Because he's going to be at the Worlds. And we already know that at least World Indoor, for what that field was, he came away with a medal. I'm not saying he's getting the medal at the Worlds this year. I'm not even saying he's going to be in the final. What I am going to say is it's starting to look like if you want to get to the final, similar to Omanyala, you're going to have to go through him in order to get it. If you want that spot, you want one of those lanes, you're going to have to do that. I'm sure there's a whole bunch more that I could say about this race, because there's a whole bunch of plot lines that I'm not touching right now. But all that being said, it is really just one race. When I say just one race, it's just one race in the month of April. In a season where the World Championships are in September, and as far as I understand it, as much as I may not like it, this is the state of the sport the way it's set up right now. Nothing else really matters except for this Amateur Pro World Championship that's going to go off in September. It just is what it is. So, it was an entertaining practice, an entertaining scrimmage. And we're even going to hand out prize money to the winners. But they might just be winners for right now, because all of these men are going to get another crack at it later on in the year when the entire world is watching. The only difference is they're not going to be the only ones in the field anymore. So instead of me continuing to tell you what I believe all this means, I'm going to ask you to do it in the comments, because to be real with you, I do not have all the answers, certainly not in the month of April. In the sport of track and field, race day is honestly the easy part, because all of the real work gets put in when nobody is watching. When you wear every day is training day gear, you can let the whole world know that your success in competition is not an accident. Order yours at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below, and it always comes with free shipping. It's a huge support to me and this channel so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.